Okay guys, in today's video we're going to talk about Cordova, Tennessee. One of the areas we invested in Memphis. We're going to tell you why it's a great investment area. Let me share a screen here. We created this map and we overlaid the major employers, some landmarks, and we give them out to our investors. So if you'd like a copy, reach out to us at turnkeyinvest.com and we'll hook you up with one of these maps. Today we're going to zoom in just to the right of that big green dot in the middle of the map, which is Shelby Farms, and we're going to check out the area called Cordova. It's a suburb of Memphis. It's not its own municipality. There's no mayor of Cordova. There's no Cordova Police Department. It's just an area. 38016 and 38018 are the zip codes. And the things we're going to talk about today, what makes this range from a B-class neighborhood all the way up to an A-plus in those two zip codes. The opportunity, investing ahead of the path of progress. Now, we'll talk more about that, but the houses that you're going to see for the most part in today's example can't be rebuilt with the cost of land and material and labor. I can't build these houses, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, for what you can buy them for. There's the investing ahead of the path of progress. Now to get a 3-bedroom, 2-bath starter home or empty nester home, you're driving 45 minutes from Cordova, and a lot of people just don't want to go that far out. There's plenty of people building $1 million houses. We need more 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes. That's the housing shortage everybody's talking about. Newer inventory. Most of the houses you're going to see in Cordova were built 1995 and newer. So this was all hayfields and farmland when I was a kid, and now it's all built up. So newer inventory, even though it's 20-something years old, that sometimes is newer compared to some other zip codes, as a lot of you know. Low eviction rate. So I just ran a quick report, and we have very few evictions out of all the properties we manage, which is a lot in Cordova. Our office in that green circle on the map, if you can see that, is right in the middle of Cordova. So we have a lot of properties that we manage out here, and within 45 minutes of our office is our territory. But we have a low eviction rate compared to our other zip codes. There's a lot of factors there. It's a whole video I could make, but it's a low eviction zip codes. Obstacles, heavy competition. I mean, the other guys that have rentals in the area are darn good, like Progress Residential or Homes America, all these big hedge funds, these operators that don't have budgets like investors like us do, that we have to hold too tightly. And they have some great rental properties out there. So that's an obstacle, is having a bunch of homes in Cordova. You better have a top-notch home or be priced below the guys that are really running a sharp operation, apples to apples. If somebody's looking on in Cordova for a rental and they're going to look at all the 3-bedroom, 2-baths, they don't care as much as I'd love to think that this is true, that James at Foundation has the house for rent. If the one across the street is better, they're going to go for that one if the prices are comparable. So you got to have your game on point when you're dealing in Cordova. And we're going to show you some properties that are on point. Increasing values versus rents. So all of you guys and gals that are watching this who have bought in Cordova from me or however, and I will take that moment to say, if you've bought a house and I don't manage it, we would be honored to throw our hat in the ring and be your manager here in Memphis, Tennessee for a house you acquired anywhere, or maybe you have a portfolio of homes. You're not exactly excited about the property management experience you're having now. Reach out to us, foundationpm.com, Foundation Property Management. We'd love to talk to you. Jenny here in the office would love to talk to you about some of the things we do that make a difference for our owners like you. All right, and then on to the next. So this map shows all the properties that we have under our management in the Cordova area. So you can see right in the middle of the screen my logo, FPM, Foundation Property Management. And within a few miles, in a radius here, we have well over a couple hundred houses that we manage, maybe 150. So we have a lot of experience in the area. And I want to walk you through first, geographically, the areas. Google Maps is really good for this. If you just go in there and type in 38018 into the search bar, it will put a little red highlighted dot exactly around where the zip code is. For a lot of my investors, thousands of miles away, they've been to Memphis once or twice or never plan to come to Memphis. This is a good way to get familiar with the different geographical areas in Memphis and be able to talk the talk when you're saying, I want to invest in these certain zip codes. 38018, 38016 are the two we're talking about today. Those are the two zip codes that encompass Cordova. So it follows I-40 out to Highway 64. Just to the north of this red dot is what's called Lakeland. Lakeland is a very expensive area. We don't do a whole lot of business there because the cash flow is tough when a neighborhood, a city of Lakeland is so expensive. But 38016 is a great little area for us. We're going to see some examples. And it comes all the way down above my office. So you'll see the Foundation PM logo again right in the lower center of this screen. We're in 38018. This is 38016, so north of us to 4064 out east and west. So the opportunities that are in the Cordova area, I'm building this brand new house right now. So this house is 6 months out from completion. We haven't even broken ground yet, waiting on permits. But definitely an executive level rental. We're gonna do the granite countertops, the subway tile backsplash, the shaker cabinets, and it's a brand new home. So you're definitely looking for an executive level client on that one. All right, so the second house I want to show you as an example. We have the new construction coming up. This little streetscape shows you a good idea of what this neighborhood looks like. These houses have rear load garages. I'll show you what that means. The house we're gonna look at today, we'll pick one of those that we manage. I helped a friend of mine in California buy this about 6 or 7 years ago. He's since moved out of California, but these properties have doubled in value since he bought them, which makes it harder for you guys that are buying today because the rents have gone up over those nearly decade, but they haven't gone just dramatically up. They haven't risen as quickly as the purchase prices, the values of these properties have. So if you're buying this house today, it's still a great investment. This one is county only taxes, meaning you don't pay Memphis city and county tax. That's always nice. It's a 40% savings on your tax bill annually, increases your cash flow. So they are still obtainable with positive cash flow, just not as good as he did 10 years ago, right? So there's that rear load garage I was telling you about. So there's an alleyway that goes behind all those houses. Right there's the front and the back's the alley. And that's where your garage is accessed. Minimal yard to maintain, no fences on my properties in this neighborhood by design. So you're gonna get a professional level renter because the rents aren't cheap. They're getting a great little house, no fence, probably means no dog. It's just sounding like an ideal resident, right? Inside this house has never been through a full turnkey renovation. But it's a cute little home. I mean, there's no reason to go throwing good money at a house that rents so easily. And you're not going to get that much more rent if we were to, say, replace that carpet in the living room with a hard surface flooring like we did in the kitchen. Now, a turnkey renovation would include hard surface flooring in the high traffic and wet areas. And that's the only thing I can do to be picky about this house. The garage is a little raunchy, but hey, it's lived in. You can tell there were some projects that went on out there with former residents. You could spend the money to resurface the garage floor, and then the next tenant does a resurface job, and you're back at square one. Now, I could kill myself for putting this picture in here with the toilet seat up. The lady who hired me into real estate would scream at me if you ever had a picture of one of her houses and the toilet seat's up. But it's a good little clean house ready to be moved in by a tenant without having warranty issues and callbacks and maintenance tickets. A laundry room versus a laundry closet is always a great thing. Great little bedrooms here, big enough for a queen size bed, 2 nightstands and a dresser. The carpet is on its 3rd renter. So, you know, all those people that just hate on carpet, I've got 3 renters out of this thing. Super clean, ready to move into, primary bathroom there. This next house is more of an executive level rental. This is a house that I bought this year, renovated it, rented it. It cash flows great, and this is the type of property that you're going to get that executive level renter in. They're going to pay their rent on time. They're not going to go through an eviction because they have so much to lose. You know, somebody that can afford $3,000 plus rent in Memphis, Tennessee, has a great credit score, work history, and they don't want to ruin those things. And that's what happens if you don't pay your rent. So on paper, a lot of people would pass on an expensive house like this as an investment because the cash on cash return is lower than, say, a $75,000 home in a rough neighborhood. However, I would argue that over a 10-year period with less turnover, meaning the resident stays longer, I mean, heck, to move into a big nice house like this is a feat. You have the moving trucks, moving stinks. So you keep residents longer a lot of times. A lot of times this resident ends up buying a house. Hey, great for them. And you better have left our house in great condition or we're going to wreck your credit score and keep you from buying that new house. You see how it all falls in line. Okay. So that's a great example of a Cordova home that we just decked out with its own freestanding tub and big, huge walk-in shower, dual shower heads, upgraded hardwood floors, bright white walls, all new light fixtures, super updated kitchen with quartz countertops, and even a deck on the back, which is kind of rare in Memphis. You don't see a lot of decks because it's so flat in Memphis, and this neighborhood has a little bit of undulation. It had a deck there when we bought it. We just spruced it up and repaired it. There was a fire pit right here in the center, and to get rid of it would have cost more than what we did, which was just skirt it around with the decking material and we put some granite on top. My granite guy found a scrap in his yard that would look good. Cut that out and kept the little fire pit for the family. This house is about 10 years old. Wow, it's amazing how quickly this all happens, but 10 years ago, my investor bought it from the builder, same resident ever since he bought it. So that's what you could expect in a little Cordova home, 38016, 38018 zip codes. This house is built late 90s, definitely a typical Cordova house that you're gonna see. I love when my residents have the welcome home in the front of the house. When you can tell they're taking care of the grass. It might not be manicured, but they're treating this house like a home versus just someplace they're renting for a year and then they're on to the next place. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for houses that will attract our ideal resident. What is our ideal resident? They pay their rent on time, they don't tear the house up, they stay long term, and treat it like a home instead of just some rental. So I love seeing the welcome home in front of the houses. This is another thing you're going to see in Cordova. Both of the zip codes, 016, 018, attached houses. Now, right down the center of the home is a firewall. So it's a cinder block wall filled with some type of fire retardant, which makes each side fee simple. So in a duplex, there might not be that firewall, might be a firewall, but you own both sides. You can't split up ownership of one and the other. You can always have partners and you own 50%, they own 50% of the entire building, but a duplex is one structure. These houses are fee simple, meaning, see the two mailboxes? The house on the left is owned by one person and the house on the right is owned by my investor. So these little houses, the reason they do great for our investors and we love managing them, you can get them at a decent price. A lot of homeowners, if they can afford to, would rather not be attached to someone. So therefore, these prices haven't skyrocketed. Investors can get in, still grab one of these at like $180,000, rents for $1,750. Those are good numbers, especially if it's a county-only tax area. But it'll still cash flow if it's not. So these little properties are something to keep your eye out on. And depending on where you live, this might be common. Some of my investors in their region where they live, they've never really seen these attached houses. So who rents that type of house? I get a lot of divorcees. So maybe mom and the kids need a house for the next 5 years till they figure out their next phase of life. They don't want to go to an apartment and they don't want a house with a big yard and big rent. So this is better than an apartment that's also $1,700 a month right around the corner. They don't get the community pool and all those things like you do in an apartment, but at least it's a house. It's a single family residence. Also, my favorite investment group right now, which I believe is the biggest need in America, well, just from my little microcosm in Memphis, the aging workforce, the retirees who built this country, who cleaned the floors at St. Jude, who were the security guard at Nike, maybe not the executive level, but now they're in retirement age, and they've told me, James, I don't want to go to a retirement home. I still play golf once a week, but I also don't want a big old house and a mortgage and grass to cut. Just give me a simple little thing with low utility bills, quiet neighbors. Boom. These little houses do real well. We call these garden homes. All right, so to recap, Cordova, Tennessee, zip code 38016, 38018. If you want one of these maps, go to turnkeyinvest.com, reach out to me and the team. We'll get one in the mail to you. Let us know what size t-shirt you wear. Send you one of those. We want to get to know you. So schedule a call with one of our realtors. We'd love to get on a Zoom with you and learn what your investment strategy is and if we can be a fit. Our company has everything under one roof that an investor needs to succeed. Acquisitions, renovations, property management. And then we have all the other tools and players that you need, from closing attorneys, major contractors. We can renovate firehouses, we build houses. So use us for what you need. If you aren't using us as your manager, but you need a better price on a make-ready renovation, or you just want a second opinion. Maybe you have a roof that needs to be replaced and you don't know what that costs. So you want to compare our price to whoever is looking at putting the roof on. That's where I can save you some money for sure. With our volume, building houses, renovating houses, managing a lot of houses, 1,400 at the time, while this video is being made. When you have a big cost, reach out to me and the team and see if we can't help. This is the least I can do for my investors thousands of miles away. Average price, so probably $235 is what you're looking at in Cordova for an investment property. Average price in Cordova is higher than that, sales numbers wise, but like all the properties sold in Cordova annually would have a higher average price than $235. But our average investment property that people are getting into, $235 mark. Investing ahead of the path of progress. Now, just to explain that, this is the house that America needs. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage. More Memphians wanting that house to buy or rent than anything else, because it's a budget thing. We can't build any more homes in Cordova. There's no lots available to build on. And if there were, that would be $70,000 pieces of land. Then you have to construct a house. The house is $400,000. So by being able to buy a house for $235, you have now bought a house that's fully renovated and couldn't be built in today's building environment in the economic times we're in. So that's what I mean by investing ahead of the path of progress. Newer inventory, like you saw with my examples that I showed, most of these properties are built 1995 and newer, a lot of them in the 2010 and newer. Low eviction rate, nobody wants to go through an eviction. If you're looking for a more passive investment, this is the type of area you want to be looking at. Obstacles, heavy competition, lots of people that are on point in the game in Cordova, Tennessee, and increasing values. That 235 house will be 245 next year just because of the simple supply and demand. There's so many people wanting that type of home. Investors, homeowners, renters. That's what Cordova has to offer. If this was helpful and you want to learn more about ways that we can work together, my team's here to serve you. Go to turnkeyinvest.com. If you are seeking a better management solution, foundation property management, or foundationpm.com. Thanks.